What about just uprooting this is an iconic building.
Mono, I will just say this. I made this point yesterday, that I hear all of a sudden from my liberal friends that they're very concerned about our history. Really, these are the same people who tore down every statue they could get their hands on in the last 4 years. Christopher Columbus, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt. They didn't have any concern for history then. Now all of a sudden, like, oh, the facade of the East Wing is iconic. Oh, give me a break. I mean, give me a break.
What about just uprooting?
Yeah, Hawley, Senator Hawley, he's definitely correct, right? We got to talk about this renovation, ballroom renovation that Uncle Trump is doing to the White House. Because, of course, the people on the left, right, these liberals, are losing their minds and saying just the most ignorant things, like what you just heard there. Oh, my goodness, it's so iconic. It's historic. Why is he destroying it? Well, you had no problem tearing down historic statues, did you? Of historic figures. Nobody cried about that, but now all of a sudden you got some issue because of how historic something is. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I want to play this clip of what Uncle Trump had to say about his new ballroom that is not being funded by us taxpayers, privately funded.
There's a relative... Nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people.
Yeah, so obviously making more space when they want big events. Here's some renders of what it should look like. Turning the East Wing into a 90,000 square foot ballroom. Okay. Looks amazing. Looks very nice. Very clean and very nice. Okay. But if you listen to mainstream media, oh my goodness, this looks so horrible. This is terrible. He's tearing down the White House. How could he? Like this clip from CNN. Check it out.
Well, as I mentioned on this program a couple weeks ago, I think it's fairly grotesque to begin construction, just the optics of beginning construction on a grand ballroom at a time when the government is shut down, inflation is still high, costs are still high. We saw new economic indicators coming out today actually showing that middle and lower income Americans are falling behind in car payments, which is an early indicator. So I think it's, even if you believe that this was a good idea, I would say the timing is horrible. And look, personally, it was a little shocking to see those images, having worked in the White House. I mean, there's so much beauty and history in the East Wing. So it's sad to see that, that huge hole there. And I would just mention that some of the other things, the changes that Scott mentioned, those were at additions. This is a subtraction, I guess, in an addition, but it really changes, I think, in many ways, what the people's house is supposed to be about, which is not necessarily a grand ballroom with crystal chandeliers, but it's about the American people. So again, I just also think the construction timing is really just gross.
Yeah, grasping at straws. Why do you think the timing is really gross? Okay. She had no issues when Obama did it. I'm sure she didn't. I didn't hear. I don't remember hearing of any Democrats crying and complaining when Obama was changing the tennis courts into basketball courts. No, nothing. And that was just for himself because he liked playing basketball. This is for anybody and everybody that wants to visit the White House. Okay, this isn't his own private little space like Obama did with the basketball court. Just saying.
I find it very interesting that we're having this conversation because FDR actually built the East Wing, put a pool in for himself. President Obama was a basketball player, put a basketball court in. President Nixon was a bowler and put a bowling alley, all personal things they want to do. The president is doing an addition to the People's House. It's going to be able to hold hundreds of people. Instead of cramming people in, foreign visitors and other folks that we've crammed into these rooms, we're going to have an actual ballroom that we can properly host people in the White House. And he's paying for it, and private donors are paying for it. So any correlation, he's putting his personal dollars in along with private donors.
The pool and the basketball court did not disrupt the structure of the White House. That's the first thing.
And
the second thing,
the changes.
Putting in a pool doesn't disrupt. that was the reply. That was the rebuttal from Abby Phillips. It doesn't disrupt the structure. Okay. All right. So let's
Donald Trump doesn't
I'll let
want
this
you to
brother
see this
take it away.
picture. He's literally destroying the White House. Well, if you zoom in on the same picture, you will see the White House in the background not being destroyed.
Gavin Newsom is lying, but we're going to get to Gavin Newsom later.
Here's another one. What is that? That's the White House in the background, standing tall and well. Here's a bird's eye view, and if you look closely, you will see that the building that's being demolished for renovation is the East Wing, which has undergone renovations and expansions under, wait for it, 3 presidents before Trump. In fact, the White House, the main structure, including the West Wing and the East Wing, has undergone at least 9 significant renovations or expansions before Trump. Like this one, or this one. Here's another one. This one happened under Truman. Here's another one, here's another one. You can go on and on. Now, I hope this helps, but I bet it doesn't, because, as we all know, everything done by Trump is bad and never seen before. In fact, so bad that the left has to lie about it to make it sound bad.
Facts. 1000% facts. Nobody had any issues when Obama. Matter of fact, here's a list. Okay, let me make myself a bit smaller on your screen so you can read through this a little bit here. Here's a long list. 1909, expanded the West Wing. Okay. Let's see here. Added a second story in the 1930s. All right. And a basement to the West Wing. Moved the Oval Office. Okay. Obviously here's a bunch of other stuff, right? More stuff. Installed solar panels. Barack Obama did. Changed the tennis courts into a basketball court. Nobody had any issues with any of this, right? And there's a video of this. Matter of fact, here.
Sounds like they're building another wing to the White House, but we appreciate you keeping your focus.
You can't even imagine, TJ. It's going to happen for the next 2 years. All of the banging, the jackhammering, the dust, the confusion, the noise of all places to do construction is happening right here, the front lawn of the White House.
It's a 4-year renovation project. Estimated cost, $376 million.
4 years, $376 million that you and I had to pay for. Not private funding, right? Like Uncle Trump is doing. Not his own dime. That was our dime. Just so he could change some tennis courts into basketball courts. Was the mainstream media losing their crap over that? I don't think so. And of course, you got Gavin Newsom, complaining about what Trump is doing. And yet, what's happening in California is absolutely diabolical. Check out what they're doing to the California Capitol and pay close attention to how much California taxpayers are having to shell out for this.
Why will a new office building for California lawmakers cost as much as an NFL stadium? That's a question we've been asking California's legislative leaders overseeing the Capitol Annex project. Live Copter 3 flew over, getting this exclusive look at the progress crews have made. The $1.1 billion project is supposed to cover costs for the office building, parking garage, and a new visitor center.
But it will also include private hallways for lawmakers that allow them to avoid the public and avoid us, the media. KCRA 3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala has been digging into this plan and has an update.
This new office building in Sacramento is going to be one of the most expensive buildings in the United States. And yes, California taxpayers are footing the bill. Even though the lawsuits against it have been over, the California legislature, which is in charge of it, continues to keep details in the dark. Steel beams are up and construction is underway on the Capitol Annex project. The $1.1 billion construction and counting will eventually house the offices of lawmakers, the governor, and lieutenant governor. It'll cost about as much as Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara and more than the Golden One Center in Sacramento. But we still don't know why or how the money is being spent.
Motion passes.
The legislature's Joint Rules Committee overseeing the project still won't give a public update, even though lawsuits against it have been over for 6 months. No one with Joint Rules would do an interview with us on Monday, but officials confirmed there are now no plans to construct the visitor center on the west side of the historic Capitol. But even without that part, they said the budget for the project overall won't change. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't.
Dick Cowan is the ex-chairman of the Historic State Capitol Commission and is part of the group that sued over the project.
Among the many questions we have is, what's the project going to cost now? Has it continued to rise as it did over the last years? When will the project be complete? They have all that information, probably in a monthly report they receive from the builders, the designers, and the management team.
But information has been tough to get. As we reported last year, more than 2,000 people involved in the project signed non-disclosure agreements, legally requiring some lawmakers, government officials, and others to keep quiet about what's going on. The cost estimate has more than doubled since 2018, and the NDAs are still in place.
I think this building is already a tremendous strain on taxpayers. And at the end of the day, it's been gone about in a way that has lacked transparency at every step of the way.
The main way we're able to get information lately is through leaks. The latest, the new building will have private hallways for lawmakers, allowing them to avoid the public and media after they debate and vote in hearing rooms. Multiple sources told KCRA3 the leader of the state Senate, Mike McGuire, confirmed this to a room full of lobbyists earlier this month. He would not do an interview, but confirmed this in a statement. He called the hallways, quote, safe corridors, claiming they have them now in their temporary office building. He said they are, quote, designed to help ensure the safety and security of lawmakers, which is even more important today, given the events that unfolded on January 6th at our nation's Capitol building and the active threats public officials continue to face.
I think this is the height of hypocrisy. You are using taxpayer dollars to build a taxpayer-funded facility, and yet you are going to design it in a way that shields you from the public and shields you from accountability.
Now, with those private hallways for lawmakers, we've asked for diagrams, documents, anything that can shine a little more light onto what exactly that entails. We are still waiting to hear back. Project leaders say they do plan to give a public update at some point this year. Reporting at the state capitol.
Yeah. So that is what's happening in California under Gavin Newsom's watch. And once again, this is the same guy who wants to be the Democrat nominee to become president of the entire United States. Taking taxpayer dollars to the tune of $1.1 billion to build a building that cost more than an NFL stadium. That building, taxpayers are having to shell out more than a San Francisco 49ers NFL stadium cost for a government building. And they're shielding themselves from the very people that they're taking the money from by putting in hidden hallways. Like, who the fuck do these people think they are? You're in the California legislation. You are not in Washington, D.C. Why do you need hidden hallways? And this guy wanted to bring up January 6th. Oh, these folks disgust me, man. These folks absolutely disgust me. Gavin Newsom, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. $1.1 billion. More than the price of an NFL stadium. You know, a stadium that holds about 70,000 people. Cost more than that. Sickening, man. Absolutely sickening. I guarantee you that building doesn't actually cost that much. There's some money being funneled somewhere else. I almost guarantee it. I almost guarantee it. Obviously, I can't prove it, at least not yet. But hey, listen, if I ever can, you guys will be the first to know. I'll definitely be making a video on that because that is absolutely ridiculous. And now they're being silent about it. Why'd they make everybody sign an NDA? Why do you need to sign an NDA just to build a Capitol building? What the hell are you doing? Are you trying to hide the fact that it doesn't actually cost $1.1 billion? Are you putting in golden toilets? Are you like what are you doing? I'm just confused. And then when people go to ask questions, nobody wants to say anything. Everybody, nope, can't say anything. Once again, do not elect Gavin Newsom, guys, at all. This guy is, he's sleazy, man. He's a snake slithering through the grass. That's all he is. That's all he is. But anyway, y'all get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Make sure you guys share this video so America can see this kind of stuff that's going on. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.